morning.
Morning.
You know, why don't you just give a little bit of an introduction of what your role and responsibility is?
Sure. So at ITV, I look after the technology platforms which take content into the business and then we distribute it to linear and non-linear channels, essentially. So I work across the supply chain. So particular teams in my area, we look at asset management, planning for how content is distributed, but then also how we transcode content and deliver it out as well.
You know, by taking that definition and what you're doing right now, where do you see the evolution of television? Of course, not 5 years. I mean, that's just ridiculous, 5 years. It's moving so fast. 3 years from now.
So I guess television is still going to, I think, be dominated by large mass audience events as well. You know, people are going to want to be watching the most popular thing that's there at the time. I guess what's going to change is how people actually access that content, how they consume it. People are much more used to being able to pick what they want to watch, when they want to watch it, and watch it in large amounts. And I think we'll continue to see that shift happening as well. Yeah,
but what you're describing right there, you know, is just a challenging business model in and of itself as well. And you know, it's kind of a hybrid approach of that, plus some, you know, bookending of live events and news, and that may be ad supported, and live events as sports that may be sponsor supported. So there's this evolution taking place that seems to be being reflected through ITV. I mean, you're doing some outstanding executions right now on television, but to get to that, I'd have to think that internally there's some challenges of what was to what may become.
Yeah, listen, there has been, and we've been, for a long time, we've been so dominated by UK transmission, and a lot of our systems and processes are therefore based around that. So a lot of the work we've been doing the last couple of years is to move away from that and actually just focus on the content coming into the business and how can we get that piece of content to as many places as we need to. And that takes a lot of change.
Changes internally, you know, and I'd have to think there's some cultural changes that are taking place too. I mean, what was, I'm comfortable with, to what is, I'm not. And so whole new teams have to be integrated in to help that motivation take place. Is that what you're realizing as well?
They do. We have to be a more agile organization, and that's a cultural change as well. We have to have much better cooperation across the organization. And when you've worked in a particular way for so long, you can get silos. So we need to break those silos down as part of that as well.
I'd have to think that would be executive management, you know, having that kind of observation of how we're going to adjust this and being able to address it in a more open manner. Again, I mean, how many times have these open manners come forth in the last 15, 20 years? Every few, the cycle comes into play to be able to move it. But you bring up something really interesting to me, and that is cooperation. Competition.
Yeah.
Where do you think the industry is going with this, and how the broadcasters and the streaming? You guys are doing a really interesting job of having them kind of both live together, but outside of the house, where are you seeing some of the opportunities? Let's start with that versus challenges.
Yeah, and I guess the opportunities are in examples like Britbox US and launching a similar SVOD service in the UK as well. So that's the BBC and ITV coming together and actually understanding that we need to make the most of what we can do of the customers. And if we can generate revenue directly from the customers ourselves, that's an opportunity. Likewise with other services, it's an opportunity for our studios business to sell to them as well. So it's a healthy thing.
Well, it's a healthy thing, but do you think that's going to keep in pace with what the evolution is internally too? Or are you going to be finding that kind of, that openness of cooperation and having the door open for your competitors taking place out in the marketplace and being able to actually work together?
I think we've seen some good examples of it so far, and I think that will continue.
Okay, that's a great way to end the conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan.
Appreciate that.